Peace, love, and blessings. It's your humble host, Big Truck. Hey, yo, go check out the content that I did. What really happened with Charlie Kirk? Check that video out when you get a chance. So, I'm going to let these clips rip, and we're going to talk in between. Grab your shoulder pads and your helmet, and let's get this work. Hustle and motivate.
Right, moves to this far right corner. As he does, he's going to climb off the edge and then drop down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions. There's some smudges, some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint.
I know he heard it. I know he heard his damn ankle on that one, because that's a drop. But this is the footage of the alleged shooter. So, alleged. But let's continue on.
Where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black T-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable items that we're looking for in the.
So, with that being said, after he jumps off the building, he walks along the grass and walks onto the side street.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September.
And let me highlight that. The eve of September 11th. Don't that ring a bell? Highlighting certain things because it's very, very strange. Certain events take place around September 11th. Just highlighting things. That's all I'm doing is highlighting things. Let's continue. If something don't seem right, 9 times out of 10 is not right. If something is suspect, 9 times out of 10, something ain't right and is wrong. And that's why I always tell people, do your research. Look into things instead of looking at things. But let's carry on.
September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon T-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators...
That means he changed his clothing. He changed his clothing. So it would be hard to identify after the fact.
Interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU.
What I want everyone to listen, how he paints the picture of leading up to the event, the situation, we'll say, paraphrase. So he's going to paint the picture. He's going to set the scene. He's going to set the stage leading up, which will let you know that this was premeditated.
They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits.
So now we're discovering that he planned this whole thing out. I mean, how do you in this generation, the way folk treat each other is so disrespectful and so cruel that words can't even explain. But let's continue.
I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this?" ?
He was sending a message. Everything was strategically planned and strategically done. He was sending a message. You agree to disagree. But to unalive someone, not only is fucked up, but it's wrong, it's evil, it's wicked. We're not going to agree with everybody. Each and every individual have political viewpoints, different political viewpoints. Okay, what's the problem? I don't agree with what the left say. The left don't agree with what the right say. Okay, and we live to see another day. Your opinions is your opinions. Your viewpoints is your viewpoints. Leave it at that. Fucking life goes on. You do not have to get in your feelings and your emotions because a person doesn't believe what you believe or stand on certain principles as you.
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist!" Catch! Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow," and a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
22, a huge amount of information came out there. A young man who became increasingly radicalized and politicized. Stated yesterday about the inscriptions on bullet casings were made clear. One of them said, "Hey fascist, catch," obviously intimating when Spencer Cox there, the governor, was asked by the press.
When I look at this mugshot, you look close enough, you can tell demonic. You can tell, you can see darkness, evil. A person with a cold soul that doesn't care about humanity, that doesn't care about life, that doesn't care about anyone. That's what I see when I look in his eyes. Let me highlight that. Not just him. There's other individuals that I see with that same look. That's why you have to pay attention to people you are around. Watch your surroundings. Be careful of people that you socialize yourself with. You keep dancing with the devil, one day he gonna follow your ass home. And if he's not gonna follow you home, the devil's gonna show up where you at.
shows it was a political assassination. He said that I think the evidence is clear. An embarrassment for the FBI, I believe here, because earlier on, Kash Patel had claimed that they'd arrested this individual. That's not the case. He was voluntarily handed in after confessing to a family member who told, a friend of a family who told the father. Kash Patel saying the FBI delivered. He's already being slaughtered on social media.
I'm honest enough to tell you that I'm worried about America. Yeah. I'm worried about our nation because it's sick with racism still. Just think about the fact that we live in a nation which was founded on the principle that all men are created equal. And yet men are still arguing over whether the color of a man's skin determines the content of his character.
One of the things I would like to highlight is that the Americans has a large number of individuals have already received the message. And there's many others that have not received the message. There has been a large shift. Okay? And when you look at this generation now as to the generation before, there's a big difference in the way individuals treat each other.
Told me to say to the United States of America that is sick with militarism and is sick with excessive materialism. Have you ever thought about it? There are between 38 and 50 million people in the United States of America who are poverty-stricken, make an income less than the poverty level. And yet, this is the richest nation in the history of the world. Our national gross product this year will go beyond $800 billion.
The things that they don't want you to know about. And when you begin to figure things out, that's when they get mad at you. You're not supposed to figure it out. The very thing that you figure out, you share it to educate others. They get mad. Because as long as there's division and chaos and evil and wickedness going on, number one, money is made. Number two, prisons stay filled. Number three, here's division to carry out an agenda. Oh, you better not speak truth. You better not open up the eyes of others.
There are between 38 and 50 million people who are poverty-stricken. Now, there's something wrong. A lot of people are afraid to say it. But I don't mind saying it. You see, somebody said to me the other night, don't you think, Dr. King, you are going to have to start speaking more in terms of the administration's policy? Because since you started talking against the war in Vietnam, it's hurt the budget of your organization, and people who once respected you don't respect you anymore. And I had to look over and say, so I'm sorry, but you don't know me. I'm not a consensus leader. I don't determine what is right and wrong by looking at the budget of my organization, and I don't determine what is right and wrong by taking a Gallup poll of the majority opinion. And so because there's something wrong, our struggle must continue. And what we must see is that our nation's summers of riots are caused by our nation's winters of delay. I'm going to be honest enough to tell you that I'm worried about America.